Hello, everyone. We welcome you to SexEd Unfiltered, a podcast series launched in partnership with Putali, Nepal and Stanley Speak in collaboration with Yunus and Youth. In our candid, interactive, and game based podcast, we will be discussing and reflecting upon the topics of love, relationships, sex, and identity that are often soaked in shame and stigma all around the world. Hello, listeners. I'm Priya Agrawal, the founder of Stanley Speak, a sex ed tech organization based in India.
And I'm Aishwarya Rani Singh, currently working as Managing Director for Putali, Nepal, a social enterprise based in Nepal. And we welcome you to the second episode of Sex Ed Unfiltered, the art of saying no. Well, saying yes or no in regards to responding to any life situation is clearly based on one's personal choice and preferences. No, it's just a one word response. However, it is very intriguing to realize that most of the time individuals become subject to the influence of their surroundings and so trapped in the societal perception that as much as the response is supposed to come with a clarity, it might not. Especially when it comes to having rights over your own body and emotions, how often do we take a stand for what matters to us? How often do we set boundaries for ourselves and communicate about it honestly to our partners? And what other factors could possibly influence our response and our choices? Moreover, should giving a simple one word answer as no be an art that one should actually learn in order to live the life one actually deserves?
Well, let's explore the answer to these questions by asking some prominent questions surrounding sex, relationship, and marriage with our guests. And let's get an idea of how individuals work on these art of saying no in different society and culture. Today, we are thrilled to be joined by Lara Macchiato. Before we begin, we would like our guest to introduce herself. And since today's episode is on refusal skills, so along with our introduction, we would also appreciate if you could tell us if rejection was an object, what would it be for you?
First of all, I'm really happy to be here. And I'm Laura. I'm from Brazil. I'm 26 years old, and I'm also a Yunus and Youth fellow. And I'm a designer. I have a master's on curation. I'm an Amani Fellow, Achieving alumni. And currently, I'm working as a senior product designer in a startup here in Brazil. And I also have my own social enterprise company with other two co-founders that's called Arca. And we want to help migrant women in Brazil to insert themselves in the culture and aid them to express themselves through photography. So yeah, I basically work on those areas of design, innovation, gender, and social impact. And if rejection was an object, I think it would be like an object that seems harmless, but it's really painful. I don't know, like a needle or something, because you sort of, it's inevitable. Like you go through life and you have, I don't know, you have to take a blood test or vaccines or whatever. So you can't escape like needles or I don't know, vaccinations. But it's a good thing, but it hurts in a way.
Well, thank you so much for that example, Lara. It's great to have you here, and there are so many topics that we want to discuss with you today. We can't wait to get started. So, shall we?
Yes. I should
Are
start
you
by
excited?
saying that I'm terrible. I'm terrible at saying no. So I'm just going to preface that.
All right, then. So we have 3 to 4 different games, and we'll explain the rules of each one of them as we move along. So if you have any question, just please let us know. Is that okay?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. So our first game is Have You Ever? And I hope you have heard about this game, but just to explain you how it works. In this game, I will ask you one question and you have to simply reply yes or no. But it would be great if you could also share maybe, any incident or experience related to the question if you have any. So shall I begin?
Yes.
Okay. So Lara, my first question to you is, have you ever refused sex in the middle of the act?
First question is already an easy one. I think so. I think so, yeah.
So there's a first no there. See, you're good at it already. So I'll go to my second question. Have you ever lied to avoid sex because you couldn't say no directly?
Yes. Yes. And I do that with most things. Like, for example, I think in life people have a really hard time accepting no because of like mental health or just because you don't feel like doing things in work and life and friendships. So sometimes I think it's easier to just lie and say like, oh, I have a headache, instead of saying that I actually don't want to do something because I just don't want to do it. It's just easier
But
sometimes.
Clara, what do you think? Why is it so difficult for people to take rejection?
I mean, you can go into like Freud or whatever therapy, but I think it's just like we are all so insecure and like afraid of being pointed as the, like, imposter syndrome. I think everyone just walks around feeling a little bit like that. So I think everyone's just a little bit afraid that someone is gonna come up and be like, oh, I can see you, I think you're a fraud, and I don't like that, you know what I mean? So I think rejection in a way reminds people that they're not perfect, even though we know that. The thing with rejection is like you not only think about how you're gonna feel once you're rejected, but you also think about what people are gonna think of you if you reject them in a lot of settings.
True. Thank you so much for that answer, Lara. So my third question to you is, have you ever taken consent from a male partner before kissing, touching, or being intimate with him?
Hey, this is another blurred line. I was actually talking to a friend the other day about something that guys do that really annoys the both of us. That, when you're at a party and you start kissing a guy, and then they automatically assume that they can touch your boob, or they can touch your booty. I don't know. And it's like, okay, I only allowed you to kiss me. I didn't allow you to like touch my boob, and it's the line is really blurry when you're in that setting. So I think, yes, I think I asked for it at times, but I also think that people should ask more for it.
Okay, great. So my next question is, have you ever gotten angry for being denied to a proposal or sex?
Not angry, no. Because it's one of those things, like if someone doesn't want it, be it you or the other person, there's not much you can do, right? Like, no, I'm not angry. I think just like, just disappointed, maybe. I don't know.
Okay. And my last question is, have you ever stayed in an abusive relationship because it was difficult for you to deny being treated badly?
Yes. Every day of my life. No, I'm kidding. No, I think the hardest abuse to deal with is the emotional one, because the physical one, like it's like I mentioned before, people have an easier time understanding physical pain, be it on yourself or like causing in others, So like if you're, I don't know, let's say you're walking down the street and you accidentally step on someone's feet, like you're not gonna keep doing that because you realize you're hurting someone physically.
Yeah.
But mentally, we are all sometimes stepping on each other's toes, and people don't realize it because you can't see it, and sometimes people don't voice it. So I've been in abusive relationships, plural, but the biggest one was like a 6-month abusive relationship, and it was exactly what you described. Like I didn't know it, but I think deep down I knew it. But then you mix up like insecurities and feelings and emotions, and like you like that person, like I don't know why, but you do, and so it's very complicated.
I can so relate to that. Sometimes I feel that when they say that love is blind, I actually think that it is, because it makes you believe that things are right when they are actually not, right?
Yeah, and you can use rose-colored glasses. Like, for example, I was seeing this guy not very long ago, and I was looking at him through rose-colored glasses and thinking like, oh, he's so like, he has such a good heart, he's so funny, he's so caring and kind and blah blah blah. And then from the moment he did something that I didn't like, my view of him changed. So in a way, like it can be blind for both ways. Like you can see, you see what you want to see, really.
Also, I heard this somewhere that the only worst thing about being in an abusive relationship for more than 6 months is staying in that relationship for 6 months and 1 day. So as soon as you realize that you are in an abusive one, it takes a lot of time for people to get out of it, and just to take action on it takes a lot of guts.
Yep,
Exactly.
Agreed. Well, ladies, I will just like to inform you that our second participant actually has joined us, which is Rona Brooks, and I'm so happy to have her here. Because of some time issue, she was not able to join us earlier, but we are more than happy that she had been able to join us finally. And perhaps we start with a little introduction of her, and then, from the second round on, we include her in the questions. So, hi, Rona. I'm glad that you made it finally. We would love if you could just, give us your introduction and we'll get going.
My name is Rona Brooks Burawa from Kampala, Uganda, and I'm a Y&Y fellow, co-founder and CEO of Onachill Food Store. So Onachill Food Store is a social business in Uganda. Basically, we are fighting food waste, and we do it in a way that we provide solar-powered cold rooms to farmers, market vendors, and normal people who want to store their food. Basically, at first it was all about farmers because we were worried about the post-harvest loss. That was our main issue. But right now, looking at market vendors, which we got in the event of COVID, we realized people lost a lot of when people were not able to access fresh food, and market vendors usually got a lot of food wasted because people used to buy it since people lost jobs at home. So that means that the food used to get wasted. So we started selling the cold rooms to them. So we also, apart from selling the cold rooms and renting them out, we link these farmers to buyers, market vendors to buyers using our chatbot. Yeah, our e-commerce chatbot. So that is basically what we do.
Thank you so much, Rana, for this introduction.
Yeah.
Moving on with the game, we have second game which is called Mythbusters, where we will give you a sentence that we most commonly hear, and you have to share your opinion regarding the same, whether you believe it's true or not, and why. For this one, Lara, you can go first, followed by Rana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first
Ready.
question is: you can deny sex to your partner even if you've had sex with them before. Lara, what do you think?
Absolutely. You can always deny it.
And how difficult is it, do you think, to deny it to your partner?
It's very difficult because it might seem like something you can't say no to, or it might seem it's like a habit, It's like, oh, but you've done this before. Why can't you do it now? But you can always say no.
I think it's the same way how once we've had sex, sometimes even if we say that we need some space to get dressed up, and they say, "Oh, but I've already seen you naked. Why are you sharing now?" So maybe just
Exactly.
understanding that space is really important.
Exactly. I was just a quick anecdote. Like I was seeing this guy, and then I went to the toilet to like pee, and he was like there, and I was like, "You're not gonna watch me pee. Like, just leave."
Yeah. Rana, what do you think?
I think I'm with Lara on this. Definitely, and refuse sex anytime. Yeah, it just feels wrong to deny it sometimes, but if you're not up for it, well, you shouldn't be forced to do it.
Okay, so the second statement is you shouldn't break your partner's heart by denying their request and keep their priority above yours. Lara, do you have any opinion on that?
Okay, I think generally we should all try to avoid breaking people's hearts at all times, even though it's hard. But we also should keep our priorities in place and try to put ourselves first at all times. So I think it needs to have a healthy balance there.
Rana, what's your take on this?
Yeah, okay, it's really hard, first of all. Yeah, like Lara said, it should be a balance, but sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes you actually need to be hard, then you actually feel bad you're not giving him priority. Some people actually feel like it's a bad thing you're denying them something when they want it. I mean, like, you're my girlfriend, you're supposed to do this, and then you're not doing it. Okay, sometimes it will make me feel like, okay, what if he just gets another girl and does that? So it's very hard for me, very, very hard. But yeah, I guess the balance is not so much on my side because I feel so bad about it.
I also believe that gender plays a role in this. For example, India is a heavily patriarchal society, and generally, the requests of men and the needs of men are kept way above than women or their wives. So husbands usually have like an upper hand in the decisions that they make and the needs that they have. So women usually submit to that. Do you guys have any similar experiences in your countries or societies that you live in?
I mean, it's like that song goes. It's a man's world, isn't it? I think very few countries are actually. I don't even know if I know of a country that's like equal. I mean, probably like some tribe somewhere. I don't know, in a small community. But in Brazil, it's the same. And I've lived in the UK, and I've lived in Brazil, and it's the same. Like it's a sexist, patriarchal, capitalist society. So what can I say?
Okay, so moving on, the final statement is marital rape is senseless because marriage gives you license to have sex with your partner whenever you want. Any views on that, Lara?
Uh, okay, I think that's like, I think this is an idea that people are still learning, like trying to understand that, because I think for the longest time in history it was like that. Like if you're married, then
Mhm.
you have full access to that person's body, but like you're not. A couple is not like a codependent thing. It's not like an ownership. It's supposed to be something that you add to the other person's life. So you don't owe them. You don't own their bodies, and they don't owe you anything. It's just more of an agreement of like, we don't have to be together, we want to be together, so you don't have to give your body every single time that they want you need to want it as well. But I think a lot of people still don't understand that.
I literally have goosebumps the way you explained it, Lara, especially the ownership part, because I think people don't get it. And they genuinely feel that the more possessive their partner is, the more they are in love with them. Rona, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, I think Lara really pointed out something key. And in my continent, it's very hard actually, because for us we have this thing of when you get married, we actually have two types of marriages. We have the traditional marriage and that wedding, the church wedding, or any other wedding. But traditional wedding is a must. So the event that the men bring dowry, you have to pay, like it's like you pay for taking the woman to your home. So these men feel like
Mhm.
they really own the women. So I think marital rape is like so much in. Okay, I'm not married yet, but I think it's really really so much, because when you hear people's stories, it's like very many people are dying. Okay, they are depressed with all that, but they can't live because there's this thing called society depression. Society will judge it differently, saying why did you leave, things like that. To the point that society can, okay, they call you a failure, like a married dropout. Okay, in my country, it's really really so it's so deep living married like divorce, because okay, there's a way they call it a reject in society. So it's a big thing in my country, and I'm not yet married, but I don't agree with that ownership bit and all. So I
Mhm.
don't think marriage should be that way. It should be like we want to be together, not we should be together. Yeah.
Since you mentioned about dowry, it's a practice that it is still happening in India, so I can relate to that.
Yeah, it's still happening in Nepal. So, dances are getting so intense, and the fact that despite being in different parts of the world, there's so many things that we as a women can relate to. I don't know, it just speaks volumes about the domination and all the pains that so many women have gone through. And, I just wish it would stop.
It's almost hard to be a
Yeah,
woman anywhere and everywhere, isn't it?
exactly. So,
Yeah.
And we are
in
here to
case
change that.
Yes, and the very fact that we are having this podcast, just providing a platform to understand about cultures and country, and at least we speaking about it and voicing out that it's not okay. I think that's an important step to take as well. So moving on, we have another exciting game, and I can't wait to hear your answers for this. So the next game is called Agree or Disagree, where I will give you a statement, and all that you have to do is you have to tell me whether you agree with it or you do not, and also the reason. So for this one, Rona, you will go first, and then followed by Lara. Is that like clear? Was I clear enough? Shall I get started?
Yeah.
Yeah, get started.
Okay. So Rona, to you first. I avoid dealing with difficult situations involving confrontation.
No, I disagree.
Disagree. Okay. Can you tell us a little more like why?
Sometimes I actually prefer confrontation. I don't like, okay, I prefer to look someone in the eye and explain why this and this happened. So I really don't think, okay, that's why I disagree with that, because I'm a person who likes talking more than maybe using other means. Yeah.
Well, that's great to hear. Amazing. Lara, what about you?
I think I would tend to agree. Sometimes I avoid conflict. I think I don't know. Like I have a thing of always wanting to be perceived as a nice woman. I don't know, which is a bad thing.
The
It's a bad
disease
thing.
to please.
Yes, exactly. So I am a people pleaser, and I'm always really worried about people thinking badly about me. So I tend to avoid it. But when I'm in it, I'm like, yes, this is because I'm an Aries, so like it's fire. Like if I'm fighting, I'm fighting. But I rather not.
Okay.
Hey, wait, was it conflict, confrontation? No,
No, I mean
I don't.
it's both. It's confrontation, but sometimes I think what Lara means is sometimes confrontation can bring conflict as well as at least what she
Oh,
thinks.
yeah.
Yeah.
When it comes to conflict, I also I don't like any kind of violence. I'm
Yeah.
very peaceful.
No, of course we
Yeah,
got that.
yeah.
Okay. So second statement would be, I feel people take advantage of me. Would you agree or disagree? Rona, you first.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And this is because sometimes when we're taking on tasks, when I'm taking on a task or something, sometimes I feel like I put a lot of effort than other people than other people. When they're meant to do something, they leave it to me. So I end up really, really feeling like they're taking advantage of me. But okay, sometimes it doesn't really make me feel bad, but yeah, I really feel they take advantage of me.
Okay. And so do you communicate, especially when you feel that, okay, I like they are taking advantage of me? Do you communicate about it?
Usually, okay, there's a way I tend to I take time to really tell someone about something that is really hurting me. It takes some time, but when I feel like it's really to the brim, I communicate.
Okay. What about you, Lara?
I think it depends on the area of my life. Like with my friends and like my professional and with my friends, I'm very like, you're not gonna step on me. So I think I would disagree with that. Like I don't feel like people use me in that sense because I'm very aware of that. But in terms of relationships, like love, yes, I think people step on me.
Okay, so my third statement to you first, Rona, is I set and sustain healthy boundaries with my partner regarding my personal space and time. Do you agree or disagree?
I disagree when it comes to my partner. I don't know. That's why I feel I get so vulnerable. Like he just says something, and I really, really just want to please him. So that is hard. Yeah, that is hard. But health wise, yeah, I really set my boundaries when it comes to health wise. But other things, it's really so hard.
Okay. And why do you think it's hard? Why do you think it's just you, or it's the way that you've been brought up to? What do you think plays an important role in making it difficult to set and communicate about it?
Um, okay, I think it's because I don't know. I really don't know, but love is actually very funny, very, very funny. So I don't know. Sometimes you feel you can't do this, and then another time you feel like, oh, why should I do this? You feel bad. I think also it's about upbringing. I think maybe that's how I was brought up.
Well, I can
Maybe.
agree to you when you say love is funny. So yeah. Lara, what
Yeah,
about
very
you?
funny.
Yeah.
I think I'm trying. I'm trying. There's a Taylor Swift song that like just says, at least I'm trying. So I feel like at least I'm aware that I'm trying to establish those boundaries in relationships. It's hard because like I get super involved in that person, and like the thing is, it's not even like it's not even like the person is not respecting my space. Like I'm not respecting my space because I want to be with that
Hmm.
person so bad. Does that make sense? So like
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
I'll like not sleep or sleep poorly, or I don't know, go to their house when I'm really tired, but not because they're asking me, but because I want to do it, because I'm putting the relationship above my needs. So I think it's just something that I need to learn. But I've been doing it more and more often, especially recently. I've been trying to voice my needs more often.
Okay. So my another statement would be to you, Rona, first. I'm able to say no to my partner without feeling guilty or anxious.
Okay, that depends on the situation. But of course, when it comes to things that involve both of us, like let me say, let me say, coming over. Okay, if the reason I'm giving is really really key. Like if I'm supposed to do some work, like of course like you can't expect me to come see you because I have work. But if I'm free, it's very hard to say no because you're sure you don't have anything you're doing. So like a little going over wouldn't kill. Yeah, so it depends on why. Okay, it depends on the situation. That's when you can voice your, because one thing I know about my relationship is communication is key. So we usually tell each other about certain things. Like if this is wrong, I'll tell you I don't like this, and yeah, you tell me okay if you're okay with it. Fine, there'll be some getting mad and all, but finally with time you get over it and understand your partner. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Rona. What about you, Lara?
Again, I think it's the same idea. Like it's like even today, like I had a meeting, and then I was my partner, and he was like, "Oh no, please don't go." And I was like, "I have a meeting," so I felt bad that I was saying no, but at the same time, there's like an overarching sense of responsibility of like this is bigger than we are right now, so like I need to go to work. But yeah, I think it depends. I think it depends. Sometimes I feel guilty. Sometimes it's just like no, like it's not gonna happen. Even when we 1st met, like my current partner, one of the first times we met, like he wanted to have like sex straight away, and I was like, I'm not feeling it. So the first time we were actually together, I said no, which is actually quite good now I'm realizing.
That's really brave of you.
And I didn't feel guilty. I was like, this is not happening tonight.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, I'm just like reflecting on this. Sometimes you give into it so much that at a point you start realizing about your own self-worth, and then you decide that, I have to take stand for myself now, and you feel strong then onwards.
Actually, building on to that, I also feel that while growing up, we are always taught to keep our partner's priorities first. Even we see that in marriages, maybe in our parents, but nobody teaches us that, we come first. It is us that we need to take care of first, and then every other person comes in later. That is a hard lesson for us to learn.
Yeah, and that we learn through hard experiences, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but the good thing is at least we do, and that Lara could see. I mean, I don't agree with Lara when she said that she's bad at saying no. I mean, she's good at it.
I'm getting better. It's fairly recent. I'm getting better.
Okay. So another statement is to Rona, you first. I tell my partner when the behavior is not acceptable to me.
Oh yes, I agree. I agree. I'm so good at communicating my partner when I feel like I've not been treated well, like I didn't deserve this. Yeah, I usually tell him.
What about you, Lara? Are you on the same page?
I would say current Lara definitely agrees. I actually had a conversation with my partner a few days ago where he did something that I didn't like, and I was like, this is not okay. You're not going to treat me like that. And if you treat me like that, I'm not going to stay. And he was like terrified.
Wow, I'm so impressed.
You know what? I think we should have another session with Rona and Lara, actually learning from them, like, how do you communicate right away?
Yeah.
That would be helpful. But okay, moving on to my last statement for this round. To you, Rona, first. Asking my partner to satisfy my needs feels uncomfortable.
Oh my god, yes, it's so uncomfortable. Like, okay. There's this thing of maybe I need to make my hair like I really, really want to ask for money, but it's so uncomfortable because yes, I'm working, but he usually gives me money for that. So when he's not giving me the money, I feel like, oh my god, how am I going to start? So it's really so uncomfortable. Yet it's actually not a bad thing to do, but so uncomfortable.
Okay, but you say it anyways, right? Even if it's
Yeah, I say,
Okay.
of course, have to.
Okay. But have you ever also told him maybe that, that it makes me feel uncomfortable? Have you communicated about that emotion, that feeling?
Yeah, I told him, and as a result, when he just sees that, the month is like ending, he's like, you should do your hair. He just reminds himself. So that part is done.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Lara, you next.
Again, fairly recent experience. I actually had like the whole voicing my needs thing. The other day, we were having sex, like me and my partner, and I asked him like, have you ever used a vibrator? And he was like, no. And I was like, I'm gonna introduce you to women's best friend. Hold on. And then like, yeah, and then it was his first time, and like I could tell that he was a bit like, I don't know. And I was like, no, it's gonna be fine. This is what I need. Like, trust me, it's gonna be perfect. And then yeah, he actually quite enjoyed it. So I was like, I literally voiced like, we're gonna do it.
That's amazing.
Wow, that's so amazing. Yeah, I was going to say the same.
And I wouldn't even say that that's brave of you, because I don't want to, sort of consider it brave, because that's what all of us should do. So it should be normal, right?
I
That's so
totally
normal.
agree. I totally
That's so
agree.
normal.
Yeah.
of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the sort of my thought process in order to like convince him, and I quote, and I'm doing like air quotes. So I was telling him like, oh, like for guys, orgasm is like a straight line, and for women it's more of like a slow buildup. Like we need a little bit more and a little bit more time, and we need a little bit more effort. And if you have a vibrator, it's almost like you're getting a shortcut. And then like I've heard it before, men saying like, oh, but if I'm using a vibrator, like I'm not the one giving her pleasure. And then I told my partner, I was like, when you're opening a bottle of wine, like you're the one who's opening the bottle, but you're using a bottle opener. Like, see the vibrator as a tool.
Oh my
like,
God,
the bottle
that-
opener.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
That's a nice one.
When I did that metaphor for him, he was like, oh, and I was like, yep.
I know, it's so impressive.
Yeah, you go, girl. I mean, thank you for sharing your experience and the answer. Now I hand it over to Priyal.
So this brings us to our last game, which is called Rapid Fire. So I will give you a few words, and for each word, you have to tell us the first thing that comes to your mind without taking too much time. So make sure you answer quickly. So for this game, Lara, the first 5 words would be for you. Are you ready?
Yes.
Consent,
Necessary.
boundary,
Hard.
respect,
Essential.
communication.
Lack of.
Nice. And the last one is rejection.
Hurtful.
Oh, okay. So moving on, Rana, the next 5 words are for you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one is space.
Oh my God. Very annoying. Space feels like the relationship is dying.
Oh, okay.
Very annoying, yeah.
Relationship,
I guess together, I don't know.
cheating,
Yeah. Sad,
and the last one is abortion.
very hurtful.
Okay, so we are almost towards the end of this podcast. And before we end, the last question is, if you had one advice for your younger self, what would it be? Shona, you can go first.
The only advice I have and I've always had is love yourself. Yeah, love yourself. Because at the end of the day, if you love yourself, you can't expect another person to step on you or treat you otherwise than you deserve. So the key thing is loving yourself first. Yeah, that is what it is to me.
That is such an important message. Lara, what about you?
I would have so many advices for my younger self because she was so lost. But I think the biggest one would be don't try to squeeze or break yourself into spaces that you don't fit in, because the space that you're supposed to fit in, you don't have to try hard at all. I think that's it.
I'm speechless. To be honest, I'm speechless.
I'm gonna launch my book soon. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you
I think
definitely should.
I think
Yeah.
you
You
should.
should. Yeah, you should.
And with this, we have come to an end of our fun-filled podcast. Thank you so much to you, Lara and Rona, for your time. We loved your answers and the insight that you gave so much about, the importance of setting boundaries and also the value of the response. Know and how tough it can get, but how important it is at the same time to able to communicate and take stand for yourself. So thank you so much. It was very valuable and interesting, whatever you shared in terms of your, growing up, your experience, your culture, your society. But I just want to know towards the end, like, how was the experience, Rona and Lara?
I mean, from my part, like I've participated in like a few podcasts before, and I love talking. I don't know if you've noticed that. I love talking to people, and I love having like those meaningful conversations, especially if it's about like sex or women's health or mental health and all that. I think it's super important. And yeah, I loved it. I loved it. We should do it more often.
Yeah, thank you so much. We're happy to have you, and then we loved all the answers that you gave. What about you, Rona?
Well, I love it as well. I love getting involved in issues, these very issues, actually. Maybe this is my very first podcast, but I love this and I really want to engage more, be engaged more. So, yeah, thank you so much.
And with this, we have finally come to an end of our podcast. Thank you so much to you guys again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You've reached the end of today's episode of SexEd Unfiltered. You can subscribe, rate, and review our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcast. For more updates, follow Putali Nepal and Stand We Speak on Instagram and YouTube. Until next time, thank you for listening.